predictions perhaps, do you see any more terrorist attacks coming in the near future or anything of that nature?
We do. I mean, we don't see anything really big. It's interesting because we were correct in the entire decade from 2000 to 2010. We said there would be no other major terrorist attack like 9/11 on that scale, and we were right.
On U.S. soil.
Credit for things that don't happen when you're a psychic. But we actually do feel that there will be some terrorist attacks that are thwarted this year. For some reason, I'm seeing Chicago. I just feel like Chicago is coming in, maybe a homegrown terrorism attack. We predicted the incidents that just happened in Arizona and Michigan. In fact, police officers were shot tonight in Detroit, which we predicted in Michigan. And that was sad news, unfortunately. But
we're seeing something in England. It feels like the London area terrorism. It feels like around the time of the royal wedding. It could be before.
Yeah.
There's a terror threat right in the London area.
We're seeing Germany, France, and England will continue to be a hotbed of extremism this year. With a mass terror attack actually being plotted by extremist terror ring in Europe now for this year. 6 or 7 cities are targeted in Europe, and as you know, we predicted that last year, and we were right. We're seeing Pakistan and Yemen being in very high danger of terrorist attacks, possible anthrax or biological terrorist plot thwarted in the U.S. within the next year or two. And
yeah, there's terrorist cells in the Chicago area, in quite a few in the New York area, in Miami. But we're seeing something funky happening in Chicago this year around one of the terror cells. We're not seeing a lot of deaths or anything.
I'm also seeing something around JFK, New York City. Yes, the airport feels like JFK, and I want to say it's like April, May of this year.
Could be April, May.
Were you feeling anything like that, you guys?
Yes.
David, were you seeing that?
Yes, most definitely. At yours, you do so many, and that's your gift amongst many gifts you have.
Thank you.
But I think a lot of it is that we've done it for so many years, 20 years, and when you do it every day and so focused, it becomes a little bit easier as you go along, and then when you hit, it gives you more confidence when you get a prediction right. And so our confidence has developed over the years.
But I think a lot of it is sometimes you'll be doing a prediction about something because you're asked or whatever, but some of the information may be hidden or changed or whatever because it's for the evolution of us on the earth, and that's why it's blocked. Or sometimes a person might misinterpret a sign or a symbol or is not feeling well that day or something. I don't know. What do you think?
Absolutely. I mean, I don't think we're supposed to know everything.
No.
You know what I mean? Or we would be God. And so I absolutely agree. I don't think we're supposed to, for whatever reason, know every detail of the future.
No, not at all. And I think, very often people say, well, why can't you stop the terrorist attack from happening? You, the twins, go and stop it. Go to Washington and stop it and make a fuss. Well, that's kind of ridiculous to expect us not only to predict these things, but to literally go and physically stop it from happening.
That's like expecting Obama to go down to the bottom and clog the oil
the well himself with his thumb.
Yeah.
We are. That's not our purpose, and I think that very often karma is meant to happen so that people learn and evolve spiritually. It's part of their destiny, and for whatever reason, psychics aren't meant to see everything and protect people from their own karmic experiences. And so,
and when we
do what we can.
When we do private readings, I think a lot of times people will expect us to be magicians and wave a magic wand and fix their marriage or fix their job situation, but what we're doing is we're helping them to see the best options for themselves so they can then take the best measures to fix their lives, and get back on track. Don't you think, David?
Yes. I think that, we have free will, and we all have it in us to facilitate certain things or make things possible. And I think a lot of people just kind of give up and then expect you to give them the answer, because you can give them advice that's very helpful to them, things that you perhaps can see that they can't or they've forgotten about, but we can't walk their path. That's one thing that they have to understand. We can just give them a heads up on the future, and it's up to them to act on it. And
absolutely.
There it is.
We can't change their destiny for them. We cannot do the heavy lifting for them, although they may want us to. And that's just too bad. I mean, if I could do that, I'd charge about $1 million an hour.
I don't
think that's enough. That's not enough.
That's not enough. Now, you be our Cheryll.
Well, can I ask you another question?
Sure.
About predictions. It's about, natural disasters for this coming year.
Ah, good one.
Natural
disasters like hurricanes and floods.
At least one or two big hurricanes. I'm seeing one in Florida. It feels like September of this year. Pretty big hurricane.
Yeah, Florida. There's one also in the Gulf of Mexico that's going to do quite a bit of damage.
We're seeing a lot of flooding in the South this year and also the Midwest, so it'll be Tennessee, it'll be the southern states, it'll be Mississippi, Arkansas, Tennessee, Kentucky, in around there.
Yes, and Midwestern flooding. What else did we see?
I was seeing some pretty dramatic tornadoes as well in those areas. So, definitely some flooding. But those are the states that I was seeing.
We're not seeing any catastrophic earthquakes in the California area. A lot of psychics are always kind of saying, oh, there's a big earthquake, it's going to destroy California. And they've been saying it for years and years and years, but we kept saying, no, it's not going to happen, it's not going to happen yet. And we're not seeing that for 2011. We're not seeing a catastrophic earthquake happening in the California area. Yes, there will be minor ones, as there always are. We are seeing pretty big ones in Greece, Taiwan, and possibly China this year. We're seeing Mexico, South America, Mexico, Indonesia. There might be something. And India we saw as well. We saw a terrorist attack in India coming this year. We predicted the last two that happened there.
And Pakistan.
Well, that's very interesting. Now, on a lighter note, I'm sure some of the listeners would like to know about some of the fantastic predictions you've made about the royal family.
We actually predicted, we were the only psychics, I think, that predicted that William and Kate would break up, which they did. It was a few
right after that.
Before they did break up.
In 2007.
It was at the Dr. Keith Abloh show, and we said, well, there's going to be a breakup with, Kate and William, and they actually did break up for quite a while. It was several months, I think.
It was quite a shock to the press because they already had been printing their China, their pictures on the China.
That's funny.
They really were going all out with the newspapers. Royal wedding imminent, and we said, nah, they're going to break up, and they did. And we said he's not going to marry till he's about 28, 29, and that's how old he is.
So we predicted his marriage as well. We think that, I'd like to think that it's a forever and always marriage, but, it may not be. We're both giving it about 12 years.
There's something it's like something wrong in paradise. I think like 11 or 12 years we're seeing some problems, rocky road ahead. And they've already been together 9 years, so we're seeing, 11, 12 more years. It could be quite a ways down the road, and there is a possible separation and even a divorce for them. I hate to say it, but I think he's going to repeat his father's pattern there.
Pattern, yeah.
Well, everybody heard it here first on Beyond the Gate Radio. Now, can I ask you, is there anything, there's just a couple more questions I wanted to ask you about something that you already did. But first, is there anything that you feel that you guys are in your heart that you need to tell us about, any other particular predictions that you wanted to talk about?
Well, I'm glad you asked. We're concerned about the real estate crisis and the job market in our country, and everything is looking so dire. And we are seeing that China is really going to emerge as the major power by, within maybe the next 9-10 years.
It's inevitable.
And we feel like we're going to be the number 2 power in a China-dominated world pretty soon. We do feel like the financial markets are going to stabilize late this year and in 2012. But I think it'll take several years, maybe 3 or 4 years, for real estate to pick up again and for jobs to pick up again. I think jobs are going to come back within a year and a half, 2 years.
Start to come
back.
Mm-hmm.
The unemployment rate is going to stay high, around 9% through this year and possibly next year.
Yeah, but China and India will be making important contributions in medicine and materials, and China is going to stay dominant in mass manufacturing, microelectronics, aerospace. I think India will be a rising power in design and technology and precision instruments. And the U.S., it will remain a strong power, surely. We just see that we are sort of too indebted to China now financially, and there were too many mistakes made by all the parties in the past 10 years, 20 years. So I think there was not enough foresight, and they just made major mistakes. So I don't see a huge recovery for the U.S. in terms of domination again, world domination.
We also seeing cyber attacks, sophisticated plots to infiltrate electrical grids in U.S. and in Europe, and we were right about that the last 2 years.
Absolutely.
Specifically naming the countries that were involved, and definitely an attack on fiber optics networks in the U.S. Cities,
power
and
grids,
the cascading impact on banking systems.
Yeah, there'll be much more of that. Cyber spies, this kind of thing.
Wow.
That makes sense.
That's true, yes. It makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
No,
we don't have enough. I'm sorry, we don't have enough policies in place. Obama needs to really implement more policies to protect us against those kind of attacks. So that's going to be happening over the next 2 or 3 years too.
It's amazing. I was going to say that, that makes sense about, especially about the fiber optics and cyber attacks and so forth. There's much easier to do that now and can do a great deal of damage, perhaps even more so than any bomb can, especially if they disrupt the financial markets or somebody, some network or something like that, including if they should penetrate the Pentagon or something like that, can do a lot of damage.
And they can do that very easily, and they know it, and the government knows it. So we're in trouble if when they do it, because WikiLeaks has already proven how vulnerable we are.
There's going to be a lot more of that kind of thing going on.
Yeah, more WikiLeaks coming out. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
yes,
I believe that.
And that could only weaken our position, I think.
But it's inevitable, in the society we live in, and my goodness, our technology is growing in leaps and bounds, and nobody's really ready for it. Nobody's ready for the amount of growth we're seeing in technology.
I know, look at Facebook, and you have over 12,000 fans already. And Facebook, MySpace, and Twitter. You're all over the place.
Right.
Yes, we do, and it's growing. We have a pretty big outreach at this point, but when the book comes out, it'll be, so much more. We'll be able to reach so many more people with the TV show and so on.
And, you reach a lot. We've seen you on Tyra, and the wife said, they're on Tyra, so we come running out and look. But, you're really high profile. You're the most accurate psychics in the world, at least that I know of.
Thank you.
But yet you are true to what you teach and say. You are really down-to-earth angels. You are really something that... And I just want to say
That's sweet.
Thank you so much for coming on the show tonight. We're starting to run out of time.
Oh,
but we really
it's
enjoyed
gone so fast.
Time goes by when you're having fun.
It sure does. Well, we love you guys, and we sure appreciate your inviting us on the show.
And good luck with Beyond the Gate, guys.
Thank you.
You're doing a great job for being so new to it.
Thank you very, very much, Terry and Linda. God bless you.
Thank you, David and Cheryl. And we'll see you in the future.
Okay. That's wonderful. Thank you.
And we were right.
On U.S. soil.
Credit for things that don't happen when you're a psychic. But we actually do feel that there will be some terrorist attacks that are thwarted this year. For some reason, I'm seeing Chicago. I just feel like Chicago is coming in, maybe a homegrown terrorism attack. We predicted the incidents that just happened in Arizona and Michigan. In fact, police officers were shot tonight in Detroit, which we predicted in Michigan. And that was sad news, unfortunately. But
we're seeing something in England. It feels like the London area. Terrorism, it feels like around the time of the royal wedding. It could be before.
Yeah.
There's a terror threat right in the London area.
We're seeing Germany, France, and England will continue to be a hotbed of extremism this year, with a mass terror attack actually being plotted by extremist terror ring in Europe now for this year. 6 or 7
predictions, perhaps. Do you see any more terrorist attacks coming in the near future or anything of that nature?
We do. I mean, we don't see anything really big. It's interesting because we were correct in the entire decade from 2000 to 2010. We said there would be no other major terrorist attack like 9/11 on that scale. 7 cities are targeted in Europe, and as you know, we predicted that last year, and we were right. We're seeing Pakistan and Yemen being in very high danger of terrorist attacks, possible anthrax or biological terrorist plot thwarted in the U.S. within the next year or two. And
yeah, there's terrorist cells in the Chicago area, in quite a